Meanwhile, MSNBC political analyst Rick Tyler served as communication director to the Ted Cruz presidential campaign and joins me now from Washington. Rick, I mean, the unpredictability of this campaign continues to astound. Yes. You're a political strategist. Is this a good play by Donald Trump, or is he walking into a possible, tough situation where he'll be blindsided by the Mexican leader?
You know, this is really unbelievable. This is really high stakes, very risky, and it's all what we observers all live for, right? Here you have the president of Mexico, Nieto, and he has about a 23% approval rating in Mexico himself. He's been involved in and been plagued by, of all things, a real estate scandal. And then you have Donald Trump, whose approval rating with the Mexican people is at about 2%. So why would the president of Mexico, who already has low ratings himself, invite someone with astronomically lower ratings? I mean, what is the purpose and what is going to get accomplished? I don't believe this is about appealing to Mexicans, because those first-generation Mexicans or Mexican Americans who probably follow Mexican politics more than most Americans certainly would, they know that this president is very unpopular. Donald Trump has called Mexico an enemy. He has compared immigrants to rapists, to criminals, and the president of Mexico has said about Donald Trump that his tone reminds him of Hitler and Mussolini. So I am really anxious and excited to see what these two could possibly have to say to each other.
And just to point out that Peña Nieto was in Washington only a couple of weeks ago for a visit with President Obama and sort of ducked any criticism of Donald Trump at that official meeting. But there have been plenty of opportunities for them to get together in a more formalized way. But to do this so spontaneously, this was an invitation, as you point out, to both candidates. Hillary Clinton saying that she would be meeting or doing that at the appropriate time, whatever that is, but certainly not accepting this. Let me play a little bit of Kellyanne Conway discussing Trump as leader. This was her play on the Today Show with Savannah Guthrie.
Sure.
I'm sorry that Secretary Clinton is not going and has not accepted the invitation. I mean, I feel like she keeps following the leader. We're the leader here. People are in need in Louisiana, we get right there. Governor Pence and Mr. Trump went right there. The president of Mexico invites us, we accept his invitation. I think they'll have a productive conversation today, Savannah, about illegal immigration, but also trade policy and drugs.
I mean, does she have the point in that Trump is being aggressive and that Hillary Clinton, which we're going to be pointing out as we continue this broadcast, this is today her first speech since Reno, but she's only given 2 public appearances in the last 2 weeks. She's been spending her time in the Hamptons or in Silicon Valley or Beverly Hills, raising millions and millions of dollars. $21 million minimum. They give us the minimums and the maximums. So the minimum is $21 million in the last couple of days in the Hamptons and $19 million in California the week before.
So Hillary Clinton has been running somewhat of a traditional campaign. She only emerged when the one of the scandals that she had to clarify. But she's been raising a lot of money, hoping that in the end that she'll have enough money to communicate her message to these swing states. Donald Trump has not been raising as much money, but so look, I think she's going to play it cautious. I don't think she's going to accept the invitation. Donald Trump is, in one sense, you can give him credit, he's playing it bold, but the risk here is so enormous, and I don't know what the upside is. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, Donald Trump has said over and over again that, he's going to build a wall and Mexico's going to pay for it. I'll tell you, Andrew, the only way that Mexico would pay for the wall is if Donald Trump promises to cede Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and Southern California. Then the Mexicans, I'm sure, would be glad to build a wall.